Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, Secret Kismet. Today's title of the video is going to be connecting to the body. If you are new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. If you are new here, this is just me inviting you guys into my experience as I heal and grow, and just share in my aha moments that I be having just throughout my day, throughout my own experiences, and hopefully y'all resonate with them, and you know, sharing the medicine from whatever I have received. Today I got a aha moment in regards to our connection to the body, and as women, our connection to our menstrual cycles, and how our bodies are really the tool we use as an alchemist. And so that is our highest form of magic, our physical vessels. And it can really be a very clear indication of what we are processing or dealing with on a spiritual level, but also in terms of like manifesting. And so when we think about all the things in terms of like alchemy, as in like, you know, transmuting energy, you know, letting certain energy go, healing, manifesting new energetic frequencies, the whole nine, it is through our physical vessels. And so I had made a video about like doing spell work and like root work, and from my personal opinion, I think your greatest tool is going to be your body, not anything outside of that. So like candle magic, working with herbs, even though I do feel like those things are powerful and they do work, I do feel like as long as you have breath, as long as you are in your body, you are your greatest tool. And so that's kind of what I want to talk about a little more in depth, just because I had this like aha moment. So for the last few days, I've been having these like reoccurring dreams about a certain situation that I had went through a little over a year ago. And I got into like a heated conversation with someone, and it was someone who was involved with this experience. And it turned out that like there was something that I needed to see about this experience so that I could let it go. And I'm about to get my cycle in about 3 or 4 days. My cycle always aligns with the new moon, which is also very magical and witchy, but I'll get to that. But whenever I'm about to get my period, or it may even be the new moon since it aligns, I always, my dreams kind of pick up. And personally, I think it's because my subconscious is kind of showing me what it is that is needing to be released. It's kind of revealing what it is that needs to be released. Because our womb is where we carry our water energy, and water is what carries memories. So think of that as our subconscious bank, water bank that our physical bodies hold on to. And so whenever we have our cycles, it's like reprogramming that subconscious mind as we release. So whatever we are releasing within our cycles, it kind of reprocesses and regenerates a new energetic frequency, depending on if we have really you know, let it go and ready to be reprogrammed. And so I think it's a powerful way to do subconscious reprogramming. If you really tune into how the body is letting you know, okay, we're ready to let this go. And what I noticed about this particular experience is that my body may be ready to let it go, but it is my mind that is holding on to it. And so I needed to have that heated conversation for that revelation, that aha moment of, okay, I'm now ready to let this go, because I was able to see it from a different perspective, and see it from a place of grace and also resonance. I won't go into detail because it is a very personal situation, but basically, I wouldn't say I was kind of stuck in. Nah, I ain't gonna front. I was a little stuck in like victim mode of like, you had me fucked up, in short. And I had to see it from a different perspective of where another situation with another person where I could have been the victimizer or abuser, and had to see it from the lens of, I am not greater or lesser than the person who I felt like had me fucked up. And that it really boiled down to that they were trying to follow their desire, and it wasn't personal to me. What they wanted was not personal to me, and though I felt it personally because I was involved, it wasn't something that they intentionally did to me. Just like in the other situation where I could have been considered the abuser or victimizer. I don't know if victimizer is a word, but it wasn't intentionally towards that person, and it had nothing to do with that person. It was something that I was seeking, and something that I felt like I was looking for, something I wanted, and it really had nothing to do with the other person. And so I needed to see it from that higher perspective in order to let it go, in order for my mind and my body to be one with letting it go. And so I think in that way we could really work with our bodies for manifesting, for transmuting. And when we talk about like subconscious reprogramming and becoming new, and new year, new me, and like this whole idea of self-transformation, it really does have to be on all levels. It has to be spiritually, it has to be mentally, and it has to be emotionally and physically, because we exist in all four of those bodies. And so if in one of those bodies that we are not ready to transform or let something go, then it kind of stays stuck in the body, because the body is the last manifestation, is the last embodiment. And so, like I say, even though my body is always kind of in this process of regenerating itself and ready to let things go and reprocess, if my mind is not in accordance with that, then okay, my body gotta go along with that, because of our central nervous system is, my brain is communicating to my body, and so they have to be in alignment with each other. And even on a spiritual level, I think on a spiritual level, most of the times we're ready to evolve, and we can see from a higher perspective when we're thinking about in the spiritual body. I think it's more in the emotional, mental and physical body that we have a hard time like letting things go, because this is something that has come up over the past year or so, of continuously, are you ready to let this go? Are you ready to let this go? And personally, I think it's still maybe even in the emotion. Well, no, I feel like, well, I don't know, that's something I gotta think about, because it turned into a heated conversation because of the emotional attachment. So there are things that I probably still need to work through emotionally as well. But all of that to say, I feel like all of this came up so that I can process and let it go as I menstruate. And I had talked about this in the PCOS and fibroid or endometriosis video I had did, of our cycles for womb carriers are our way of karmic clearing. And so when we are attuned or in tune to our menstrual cycles, then we also have the ability to really think about what it is that we want to create and our ability to manifest. So just like the full moon and new moon, we have our rituals that we do. Our moon cycles is the direct reflection of that. And so yes, the moon and the sun is the macro of, okay, that is for all of us as a collective, what we are shedding, what we are processing, and all of that. But for women, our menstrual cycles is that on a micro level. So for our personal own ecosystem. And in that way, it is a very beautiful gift to be able to do that every month. And even how I was saying in last week's body video of sometimes when we have, you know, physical accidents or pain in the body, it is the body's way of bringing you back down into the body, bringing you back down into reality. And I even think that with our menstrual cycles of, you know, our cramping, how much we bleed, and, you know, just your connection to it, because you have no choice but to be present and like feel that out and be in your body. And with that, this is why we experience like a heightened emotion and all these things, because those are things that already pre-existed. We just probably weren't processing it. And so I think really tuning into our menstrual cycles, really tuning into our bodies just in general, will help us in our healing process, but also in our creating a new process, you know, in our process of transforming and manifesting what we truly desire. There is another point I wanted to bring up too. I've been learning more about Ayurveda and their sciences, like and it's more of like an Indian science of they attune like their diet and what they do physically for their bodies according to their body type, which they are broken up into like elements. And I was saying like I am I think it's pronounced Veda, and that's an air element. And so I'm learning more and more about how to care best for my body. And it's interesting. I had asked a friend earlier, because she's been losing weight and she's vegan already, if she has been experiencing like heightened spiritual gifts. Because one thing about what they said about the air element Veda is that they're usually like slimmer, like lean people, because they are so airy, so they are naturally like light. And this helps with being like creative and imaginative. And I will say that it's me, and I will say that I've always been naturally slim or lean, should I say, even when I have been heavy or sick, which I have been. But I feel like I've always been like, even if I am heavier, I never look what I weigh, if that makes sense. Like if I told somebody how much I weigh, I feel like always, all my life, I was like, no, there's no way you weigh that. Even when I was like extremely small when I was younger, no one would ever believe like how much I really weighed. They would think I'm smaller. But I don't know why I brought that up, but basically they're like naturally slimmer people. And at the height of like my spiritual awakening, I got really, really small. up until like probably the beginning of last year, I was really small. But I was also very spiritually in tune. But I was also having a very hard time like manifesting and feeling like stable. And it was because I was too airy. I was too in the woo woo and too spiritual. I was not like grounded within those spiritual wisdoms that I felt like I was receiving. And I wasn't embodying them just yet. And so that is still something I'm working through right now. But I will say I can kind of tell within my body at what point am I leaning too far into earthly, and when am I leaning too far into being too woo woo or spiritual, or too deep in the spiritual realms. And that is when like my weight drops to a certain point. I feel like, okay, that's maybe when I'm being too woo. Let me bring it back down and eat more grounded food. And because sometimes I feel like even when I am slender, it's not that I'm not eating. I might go like longer periods, or eat heavier at the beginning of the day and not at all in the evening, or vice versa. So I feel like when I get too small, it's because I have too much going on. I'm too woo-woo. But then there's also been times where I have been like heavier set, and I feel like I was too in the material. And the one thing I feel like about being too in the material is that you are manifesting from a place of also disassociation, because of that lack of balance. If you're also not in tune spiritually, if you are too grounded, then you kind of lose sight of that spiritual connection, and then you are not aware of what you're manifesting spiritually. And so there's also like faults with that. And so like I guess try to find a balance between the two, which I feel like I'm starting to now, especially now that I'm kind of learning more about my body type and learning more about like I can't be too woo woo. I can't be too in the spiritual realms and wanting to know all these things. I have to go up into, you know, my spiritual connection and, you know, get all the mystic wisdom, and then come back down to earth and embody it. And that is something that I feel like I'm in the process of learning now. So I just kind of wanted to share like my little aha moment of connecting to my menstrual cycle that's coming up, and what has been coming up in my dreams. Which, not to toot my own horn, but I do like really good dream recall, or not dream recall, but dream interpretations. I feel like it's just something I'm naturally good at. I'm not advertising it though, like, because I don't like doing it for other people, because I do feel like it's a little bit of spiritual bypassing. Because if you can't decipher your own dreams, there is lessons in that. It is for you to deepen in there and be more inquisitive about it, and like trust yourself to get to what it means for you. Because I kind of feel like, though I am good at like deciphering dreams or decoding them, if that person is not also in the awareness of what they could be, then it's kind of hard to break it down though. Like, how did you get that out of that? So it's kind of like, you know, I don't like touching or like talking to people about their dreams, but that's something personally I feel like I'm pretty good at. But anywho, now I feel like I'm rambling. I hope that was helpful for somebody. It was a good aha moment for me of like, now I really want to focus on what comes up before my period. And like I was saying, mine always link up with the new moon. And I find that interesting because collectively with the new moon, it's about like creating. And so having that polarity of on a macro, it's about creating anew. But on a micro, it's about releasing. And I actually kind of like that because though my physical body is releasing, that means it's also making room for what could come in. So it's kind of like in that cyclical nature of both reflecting each other. And so whatever I am physically letting go of is making room for what is coming in externally through the actual moon cycle of it being the new moon. I hope that makes sense. All right. Bye, y'all.